Have you ever felt so overwhelmed by clutter and just the messiness of your house that you didn't even know where to begin to get it all put back in order? Well, that is something that is hard for us to say or admit to, but if you answered yes to that question, you're not alone, and this video is for you. In today's video, I am going to give you some very easy steps that even the biggest procrastinator, like me, can take to defeat procrastination and finally declutter your home. But first, let me tell you how by taking these steps, it is going to greatly improve your life. You are going to take a major step towards simplifying your life. Life is stressful enough without us adding to it ourselves. Our home should be our haven. It should be a place of comfort and a place of peace. There was a time when I felt like I could just not get caught up. I always had dirty dishes in the sink. My laundry was always piling up. I just could not get it all together. And the harder I tried, it seemed like the more overwhelmed I became. I just had all this stuff that I didn't even know what to do with. It all just seemed like too much. I felt like, well, I don't have time. I don't have time to start this and get it finished. By being overwhelmed, I just shut down until the phone would ring, and it would be my mom saying, I'm on my way over to visit. And what would I do? I would just start. I was left no choice. I couldn't let someone see my house in that shape, especially my mom. So that brings me to my first step, and that is to just start. Start with the things that needs done daily. Start with washing the dishes, washing the clothes, sweeping the floor, taking out the trash. Just the main everyday tasks that have to be done. Don't slack on the everyday tasks to declutter. You are going to feel defeated if you start bringing all this stuff out to go through it, and you look over and you see dirty dishes waiting on you or the trash overflowing, and you're just going to be just as overwhelmed, if not more, than when you started. So take care of those daily tasks, get those things in order, and then declutter. If you say, well, you know, that's my problem, I can't get started. Here's a tip to help you get started. Look around the room and decide on one task that if you get it done, it's going to greatly improve your space. And then if you think, I just don't have time to start it and get it done, set a timer. If you think you just have 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, however much time you feel like you could possibly take to just work on that one task, set your timer and go to work on it, and you will be surprised if you don't get it all the way finished. If you do get it finished and your timer hasn't gone off, you may want to just start on another task, but make sure you have that one finished first. You don't want to go get too many things going at once, or you're going to feel defeated again. My husband and I have moved a lot over the years, and every time we would move, it was like, where did all this stuff come from? We got where we were moving, and we would have boxes of things that we had not even unpacked since our last move. And so then we were just, moving boxes of stuff that obviously we didn't need. Our last move that we made, I just made the decision that I was not going to do that anymore. And this time I was not just going to say it, we were going to take care of the problem. So my husband helped me, and we went through every single thing we owned as we were packing and decided right then, is this something we actually want to move with us to the new house? And if it wasn't, It went either to donations or we put it in the dumpster. Since we were moving to a tiny house, if you're new here and you don't know our story, we bought this land and we built a tiny house and lived in it until we got our main house built. And so through that process, as we were moving to the tiny house, we did rent a storage building. And so even though we got rid of so much stuff, I mean, it was shocking to me actually how much stuff that we donated or threw away. So we ended up putting some things in storage that we thought we would need or want or could use once we got here to the new house. And of course, we ended up keeping too much because we are all moved in now, thankfully, and we still have that storage building and it still has stuff in it. So even though we got rid of so much stuff that I was amazed, we still have more to go through. And so you know what that means. More decluttering in my near future. But even though I have that storage building that we need to go through and declutter, I am not going to let that overwhelm me. It doesn't have to be done all at once. Which brings me to my next step. Break it down. Break it down into smaller increments. If you are needing to declutter your whole house, if that's your goal, don't think of it like, I've got this whole house to declutter. Start with a room. I'm gonna start decluttering this room. If that is still too overwhelming, say, I am gonna declutter the closet in this room. If that's still too much to tackle in your mind, say, I am gonna start decluttering this cabinet. If the cabinet is too overwhelming, think of it as a drawer. I'm gonna start with a drawer and then work your way up from there. I am one of the biggest procrastinators probably on the planet. I have struggled with it since I was a teenager. I was, the kid that was always just barely making it to class before the bell rang. I was always right down to the last second to turn in my assignments. I made things very stressful on myself, even then. And then later on, after I got married and I had kids and I was a stay-at-home mom, and I still struggled with procrastination. I was always late getting them to school. I can get very disappointed in myself about that. My son's basketball coach was once talking to the team and telling them, the bus is leaving at 4. And then he looked at my son and told him, tell your mom 3:30. So I tell you all that though to say that if I can defeat procrastination, you can too. And here is how. I'm sure, like me, you've probably all made checklists. On the good days, checklists make you feel so good. You've got all these things wrote down that you're gonna do today, and it feels so good to check them off as you get them done. And then you have a bad day and you don't get it all done, and then it just makes you feel bad. I'm gonna tell you about another list that has helped me tremendously, and it is kind of a checklist in reverse. Instead of writing things down to check off as you do them, you're gonna write the things down as you do them throughout the day. So it's basically a daily log. And that has helped me so much, because when you're writing down every step of your day, basically, you are not gonna wanna have to write down something like, I sat and scrolled mindlessly on social media for an hour. No, you don't want to have to write that in your log. It makes you not only aware of how you spend your time during the day, but it makes you aware of how you're spending your time in the moment. It makes you think about what you're doing throughout the day in real time. And that is so helpful. It was so helpful to me. You want to start logging your day from the time you get up in the morning until you go to bed at night. You may want to write down what you've done in, every 30 minutes, or it may, depending on what you're doing, you might want to write in your daily log every hour or 2 hours. Just don't go too long that you forget some of the steps of the things that you've done throughout your day. So you want to write things down pretty often so you don't leave anything out. That's what actually really helps you to start thinking about what you're doing during your days. So that is my third step, is to keep a daily log. I learned about the daily log from listening to Jim Rohn. You can find his speeches here on YouTube, and I can just listen to his speeches over and over. They are so helpful to me. You've probably heard the cliche saying, don't put off till tomorrow what you can do today. Well, I want you to think about that like this. Picture yourself going through your day tomorrow. What is one thing that you will find yourself wishing that you had done today? Don't put it off. To learn more about simplifying your life, be sure and click the link below and watch my video 11 tips on slow living essentialism. And remember, it's not about making your home look perfect. It's about simplifying, slowing down, and creating a home that gives you peace and comfort and happiness. Thank you for joining me. If you're new here and you liked this video, be sure and click like and subscribe, and I will see you here again next week at our Prairie Farmhouse.